are hovering pretty close to 10 to 15 degrees with our wind chills. But tonight, that's when the extreme cold begins to move in. So we do have this extreme cold warning that is now in effect for all of northeastern Illinois beginning at 3 a.m. lasting until noon tomorrow for wind chills as low as 30 to 40 degrees below zero. And for those of you in northwest Indiana, you have a cold weather advisory that's going to be in effect starting at 3 a.m. lasting all the way until 8 a.m. Saturday. And then for those of us in northeast Illinois, once our extreme cold warning comes to an end tomorrow midday, it's then going to be replaced with this cold weather advisory. So what you can take away from this is that we have cold weather headlines that are going to be in place starting at 3 a.m. tonight, lasting all the way through at least 9 a.m. on Saturday for wind chills as low as 15 to 40 degrees below zero. Let's take a look at some of those wind chills going into tomorrow morning by 7 a.m. This is likely what it's going to be feeling like. Again, a lot of us in that 30 to 40 degree below zero range, and then we stay there through midday Friday. I'll have more details on this forecast coming up.
Cook County just opened warming centers at 3 courthouses. The county set up spots in Skokie, Maywood, and Markham. They opened at 8:30 this morning, and they're running straight through until Monday afternoon. You get water, snacks, bathrooms. You can bring your pet if it's in a carrier. They'll have some there if you don't have one. And this is for anyone who doesn't have good heat at home. Other towns in Cook County are opening their own centers too, so call 211 to find one close to you. And real quick, emergency management wanted us to pass this along. Don't use your oven to heat your place. Don't bring grills inside. Unplug space heaters when you're not using them, and leave your faucets dripping a little so your pipes don't freeze.
Well, the dangerous temperatures forcing CPS to cancel school tomorrow. School officials say there will be no e-learning or extracurricular activities and events. Other schools have already canceled classes as well. For a full list of school closures, go to our website, fox32chicago.com. And a rough morning on the north side. Water flooding the streets along Bryn Mawr near Lincoln and California. Both sides of the street were shut down while crews worked to fix the water main break. And it looks like some of the water is already turning to ice.
So listen, Metro and the South Shore line are cutting back service because it's so cold out. Metro's running an alternate schedule, basically what you get on weekends. We talked to a Metro spokesperson on Chicago Live. They said the last time Metro had to do this was during that polar vortex back in 2019.
We have had other polar vortexes since then, but because of COVID and reduced schedules, it wasn't as necessary. So after 2019, we really looked at it because it's great to promise people service, but you need to be able to deliver. Our goal is to be reliable. And if you put a bunch of trains out there and one of them has a problem because of the weather, then you basically, everything stacks up behind. We end up people stuck on trains. We also are leaving people out in the cold.
South Shore's line's doing the same thing tomorrow. They're running their holiday weekend schedule.
Oh, wow. This cold is getting to us,
It makes
isn't
you
it?
delirious.
Oh
It
my
does.
gosh,
All
yeah.
right, there's this thing blowing up on social media right now. You might have seen it, maybe even looked it up yourself. Exploding trees.
Yeah, apparently it's caused by extreme and rapid temperature drops. I never heard of such a thing, huh?
Either.
Casey is live in Glencoe with what we're learning from experts. Tell us about this.
Hey, Sylvia and Terrence, this is a real occurrence, but arborists say it's not as dramatic as it sounds. Officially, it's called frost crack, and it looks like this. It's caused when moisture and sap inside the tree freezes during plummeting temps, causing pressure to build, leading to the split. Certain trees, especially those with smooth bark, are more susceptible. That includes sycamores. Look close enough, and you may even find them in your own neighborhood. Here at the Chicago Botanic Gardens, several sycamores have been cracked for years. Tom Tiddens, the supervisor of plant health care here at the garden, explains that they even expand and contract as the weather changes.
I expect by morning that this frost crack will probably be opened up at least 2+ inches. If a tree has never experienced a frost crack before, the first time it happens, when it hits that certain point, the crack will all of a sudden, almost like a split in your car windshield, just boom, and it'll just kind of happen. And then that kind of fracture will be kind of in the tree for the rest of its life. I've heard it can sound like a gun going off.
Now, Tiddens says that sometimes plant wrap around especially younger trees can help, but it is best if that is done in the fall. If you have any general questions about how to protect your plants during this time, the Lenhart Library here at the Garden can help. Reporting live in Glencoe, Casey Cronus, Fox Chicago.
Casey, thank you. We'll have much more on the freezing temperatures coming up, but we have to talk about this now. A 72-year-old man got hurt in a house fire on the south side. This was around 6 this morning near 77th and Damon and Auburn Gresham. They took him to the hospital. He's in serious condition. Chicago police say the fire was accidental.
A case centered around Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bovino is now in the hands of a jury. Closing arguments wrapped up today in the murder for hire plot trial. Prosecutors say Juan Espinoza Martinez sent out a bounty for Bovino on Snapchat. He has been in custody since October. Martinez says he's not guilty. If convicted, he could face up to 10 years in prison.
Illinois is looking into something serious. Remember the ICE raid at an apartment building on the South Shore last fall? Well, the claim is that the landlord tipped off agents.
What they're trying to figure out is whether the building management used immigration agents to push people of color out of that building. ICE agents stormed that apartment last September in a massive show of force that included a Black Hawk helicopter. By morning, 37 Venezuelan nationals were arrested, while several American citizens were detained against their will.
This was a major military style operation in the middle of the night with helicopters landing on the roof and many residents, including non-immigrants, that were detained and affected. And it appears and we're concerned that potentially the landlord provided information to federal agents that told them about which units to target.
Under the state's Immigrant Tenant Protection Act, the landlord can be sued for injuries or losses suffered by tenants.
A Fox Chicago exclusive, a candidate running for Congress is facing questions about his past.
Coming up, why he says it should not disqualify him from the race.
Fox 32 News is brought to you by
Indiana lawmakers moving forward today on their plan to bring the Bears across the state line.
Paris Schutz is in Hammond, Indiana right now. There's a site there that's becoming the top pick. Hey, Paris.
Hey, Terrence. Yes, hey, Sylvia. Hammond, Indiana, Wolf Lake. We are on the shores of beautiful Wolf Lake, just steps from the border of Chicago, as the Indiana Senate passed legislation through committee, and now it goes to the full Senate, that would set up the Northwest Indiana Stadium Commission. That commission would buy the land, and it would finance at least part of the construction of a new stadium here for the Bears to play in. And sources close to the Bears tell me that Wolf Lake is indeed the favored site here in the Hoosier State. It is 22 miles from downtown Chicago, and as we mentioned, just steps from the border of the south side of Chicago. Currently, there's 300 acres here. It houses a concert pavilion, golf course, a driving range, and a clubhouse. And the state of Indiana is willing to pony up to $1 billion potentially with this stadium. Hammond Mayor Tom Hammond says the site offers several advantages over Arlington Heights.
For the Bears as a business, it gives them all the advantages of being an Indiana business, you know, lower liability rates for your employees. I mean, obviously a better business environment in general. We have a surplus as a state, so I imagine our state would be able to offer more than Illinois is willing to offer, because it seems like Illinois is sort of digging in against the Bears, which is shocking to me. I mean, in the Bears fight song, it's the pride of Illinois, and it doesn't seem like they're being treated like the pride of Illinois right now.
Now, there's a few obstacles. There's a lot of industry here. If you look behind me, there's a BP refinery. There's an electrical company here. But Mayor Hammond says all of that is up for negotiation, as the state is negotiating with these companies to perhaps clear some more land for the Bears to build not only a stadium, but a big entertainment complex. We're going to have a lot more of this interview with the mayor of Hammond tonight at 10 on the Chicago Report. Now, from a very chilly Wolf Lake, we toss it back to you.
All right, Paris, thank you. Well, now to a Fox Chicago exclusive. We have learned a candidate running for Congress in Illinois has a domestic violence charge in his past.
Democratic State Senator Willie Preston confirms he made a mistake and slapped his then-girlfriend nearly 16 years ago, but he says it should not disqualify him from running for Congress. He and his wife sat down with Fox Chicago's Dane Placco.
I'm Willie Preston, and I was born and raised on the south side of Chicago.
Illinois State Senator Willie Preston is one of 11 Democrats running to fill Robin Kelly's open congressional seat. But he says he's not running away from his past.
I made one of the biggest mistakes of my life. It happened. It was an isolated incident. It happened one time. I slapped my wife.
Preston talked to us with his wife at his side, then his girlfriend, when she called the police on him in 2010.
My mom was a survivor of domestic abuse. I would never allow that to happen to me, you know? And so after...
Which is why you called the police.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
According to a report obtained by Fox Chicago, police responding to a disturbance at the North Riverside Mall found Preston, Bailey, and their 3 young children exiting the mall. Bailey was crying, the officer writing that Preston accused Bailey of being unfaithful and slapped her on the right side of her face with his open left hand. Bailey stated while she was walking, Preston reached out and began to choke her on the back of her neck from behind. Bailey entered Sears to try to remain safe, where Preston entered the doors and slapped her a second time with his right open hand on the left side of her face. Preston was charged with domestic battery, telling police, "I know I put my hands on her, now I gotta pay."
I knew at the moment I did it that I was wrong, and I took accountability immediately behind it.
But that's something that was 16 years ago. Since then, we have come so far with therapy and with counsel and with additional guidance.
I'm grateful for my wife sticking with me. You know, if my wife hadn't stuck with me, I don't know where my life would be right now.
Since that time, the couple have married and had 3 more children. But Preston says he understands raising his political profile also invites scrutiny of his past, which he recently revealed at a meeting of domestic abuse survivors.
I did something I'm not proud of. I slapped my wife. I went to jail. The next day she came and bonded me out. For far too often, men hide behind silence, behind shame. And I just can't stand here in good consciousness and not admit what I have been a part of.
Is something like this potentially disqualifying for a political candidate?
Well, look, if it's disqualifying to some people, I respect that. For me, it's not. I think this election we're not just in the Me Too era, we're in an affordability era. We're in an era where people want authentic politicians.
But this recent campaign commercial featuring an endorsement from Cook County Clerk Monica Gordon may hit the wrong way, given Preston's past.
Hi, I'm Cook County Clerk Monica Gordon. I am proud to be in the ring with Preston for Congress.
To lower property taxes. Regrets? Oh no. It's the best commercial in this political cycle. And again, it encompasses everything that this campaign stands for. It was authentic because I am the fighter in this congressional campaign.
A fight his wife says she fully supports.
This is something that I am doing willingly because I believe in him and I know that he's the right man for the job.
This is my partner, and that one moment where I did something that I regretted immediately is not who I am.
Preston has received endorsements from a number of Chicago area political leaders and unions, but it's unclear whether they were aware of the domestic violence charge. Preston says he intends to stay in the race. Dane Placco, Fox Chicago News.
And we have breaking news for you. A jury has just reached a verdict in the murder for hire plot involving Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bovino. Juan Espinoza was found not guilty. Prosecutors allege Martinez sent out a bounty for Bovino on Snapchat. This is a breaking story. We're going to have more on this coming up on the news at 5. And new at 4, a jury has found a man guilty in the murder of Cook County Judge Raymond Miles. Prosecutors say the shooters watched Miles and his girlfriend for days before trying to rob them outside their home. Miles was shot and later died, marking the first killing of a judge in more than 30 years. His girlfriend survived. 54-year-old Earl Wilson was convicted of murder, attempted murder, armed robbery, and aggravated battery. A co-defendant pleaded guilty in 2024 and was sentenced to 35 years in prison.
Senator Dick Durbin just got back from Denmark. He was over there this past weekend trying to calm things down about Greenland. Today he talked at the Chicago Council on Global Affairs. He's pushing other leaders to keep protecting Denmark and the rest of our NATO allies. President Trump just backed off his tariff threat against NATO countries that didn't want him taking over Greenland.
Fellow Danish and Greenlandic legislators implored us to explain what was going on there. There was a sense of anger as well as pain to think that the United States might in fact invade Greenland or some other entity in an effort for President Trump to take control of that country. We assured them that the overwhelming majority of Americans oppose the Trump strategy on Greenland.
Durbin's heading to Washington next to talk with more lawmakers about keeping those alliances strong. We have a follow-up on the Bally's Casino situation. They pushed back the opening of the new spot in River West. They were supposed to open this fall, but they've already seen some delays.
Brett Bugansky is live in River North. And Brett, with those delays, Bally's is requesting more time to operate there. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Bally's has been here at the old Medina Temple since September of 2023, and the city expected them to be here until this September. That's when their gaming license expires, but we're finding out they may not be going anywhere anytime soon. Here's why. So State Representative Cam Buckner filed a bill just 1 week ago today, and this is what this bill would do. It would extend the temporary license for Bally's for possibly another year. So that could put them here in River North until September of 2027. So I reached out to Bally's about the bill and about the timeline of the construction at the permanent location. I'm still waiting to hear back. So we've reported here at Fox Chicago on 2 construction delays. One this past May, the other in December of 2024. And both of those incidents pushed the project back weeks. Alderman Brian Hopkins didn't mince words at City Hall Wednesday. He feels this project for the temporary and permanent casino was a mistake. And he has questions about why this new delay is happening.
I have to hope I'm wrong and they can power through this, that they tell me the construction is only slightly delayed. I don't know exactly what that means. They're doing interior work now, so it's not visible to the external eye. I don't have a lot of confidence that they will open on time, but they're saying now they think they can, and they're also saying they have additional capital that they're going to infuse, even though they're struggling elsewhere.
So still a lot of questions about what's happening here at Bally's, but we've also reported about security issues inside and outside Bally's. So just recently, there was an armed robbery in the parking garage that's directly across the street that casino uses, but also there was an employee who got beat up and robbed inside the bathroom there. And we've also heard from a former employee who said that there have been fights on the casino floor. So once again, reached out to Bally's for comment about some of these incidents, as well as some of the construction delays and the licensing questions. I'm still waiting to hear back. But for now, we're live in River North tonight. Brett Bagansky, Fox Chicago.
All right, Brett, thanks so much. The wind is doing the most right now. It looks bright, but it's brutal out there.
Cold and windy, huh?
Yep, and that's exactly how it's going to be tomorrow, just a lot colder than what we had today. So if you were out and about today, I'm sure you noticed that it was really, really gusty. So currently we have westerly winds that have been gusting as high as about 35 miles per hour, occasionally pretty close to 40 miles per hour. And that, coupled with temperatures in the 20s, it's made a really big difference on just how cold it feels to us. So right now we have a temperature of 21 at O'Hare. It's 28 in Gary, down to 17 in Waukegan, 21 in Aurora, at 28 degrees currently in Rensselaer and Kankakee. But once you factor in those high winds, this is what it feels like. Many locations, especially across northern Illinois, feeling like 0 or very close to it. We have a wind chill of 6 at O'Hare, same thing at the Chicago lakefront, feeling like 15 in Gary, 11 in Merrillville, feels like 8 degrees currently in Chicago Heights. Here's where our futurecast wind chills are headed, though. Remember, we have cold weather headlines that are remaining in effect starting at 3 a.m. tonight through at least midday tomorrow with that extreme cold warning. But then we're all going to be transitioning over to a cold weather advisory through the day tomorrow and then all the way into Saturday morning. Futurecast wind chills by early tomorrow morning are expected to be as low as 30 to 40 degrees. Below 0. And whenever wind chills are that cold, you could actually be dealing with frostbite in as little as 10 minutes to exposed skin. So make sure you're taking precautions, take care of yourselves, take care of your pets. 5-day forecast here, high temperatures of 0 degrees on Friday. We do have the chance of lake effect across Porter and LaPorte County. Everywhere else, we're going to see some sunshine. And over the weekend, accumulating snow. Looks like it's going to arrive late in the day on Saturday, lasting through the day on Sunday. I'll have more details on that coming up.
All right, so we decided to look on the webs to get some hacks about how to stay warm in the cold. Because, you know, the usual put on a hat, wear gloves, da-da-da-da.
What'd you find?
So this is what I found on Reddit. You might have heard this before, but maybe not explained to this degree. But eat something with fat before you head outside. Apparently, some doctors say fat digestion creates more body heat, and then that lasts longer than carbs. So a spoonful of peanut butter, or almond butter,
protein,
or you know, something like that, or some
bacon.
Eggs.
How about bacon?
Bacon too can help you stay warmer. Apparently. Thank you, Reddit. Okay, as the cold temperatures settle in, road conditions can turn dangerous.
Coming up, we're going to check in with AAA on what you need to know before hitting those cold roads tomorrow.
Brown sugar bacon specifically.
Brown, yeah.
Black
Candied,
pepper.
Candied bacon?
Yeah. Oh.
Sounds good. I'm hungry.
Who here?
All right, my friends, we're getting you ready for the cold, and AAA has some important reminders for drivers.
So joining us now on Zoom is AAA spokeswoman Molly Hart with what passengers need to be on the lookout for. Good morning to you, or good afternoon. I'm so used to talking to you in the morning. So good afternoon. Great to see you, Molly.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. It's a important topic that we're going to be talking about, this frigid temps and what to do with your cars.
Yeah, so a lot of people have questions. You know, we wonder a lot about snow, but then when it comes to cold, there are also issues that we have to deal with. So what parts of a car are most likely to fail in this extreme cold?
It's the battery and it's the tires. As a matter of fact, our tow truck operators are expecting tomorrow to be on the road quite a bit, helping with those two issues. It's really the dead battery that we're going to see a lot of people having a problem with.
So that makes me think about EVs then. How does the cold affect the charging of those?
It drops the charge significantly, and with this type of weather, we would recommend you not drive your EV if you don't have to, but use a gas-powered car.
Okay, so let's go back to the battery, and you're talking about the tire. What happens that causes a problem? Is this something that people who have older batteries need to be worried about, or does it just happen in general?
If you have a battery that is 3 years or older, you need to think about getting a new battery. Yes, with this temperature, it just drains the battery, and so you want to do everything to be safe. And we talk about this. If you do have to go out on the roads tomorrow, there is never a better time to have that emergency kit with you. These frigid temps could be very harmful. You know, you want your cell phone charger, jumper cable, but also those warm blankets and extra hats and gloves for all passengers.
And put some snacks in there too, some good old
and
protein.
that water.
Yeah. What about some other things you want people to be cognizant of when they're driving in this cold? Does it affect the gas when you're at the pump maybe? What are some things people don't really think about?
You certainly, if you're coming home from work tonight or you're out and about before it gets so cold tomorrow, fill up your tank. You want to have at least half a tank to avoid fuel line freeze up. So that's definitely one thing to take into consideration. Of course, if you have a garage, you want to park your car in that garage. If you are someone who needs roadside assistance during these cold temps, you want to pull over to the shoulder as far as you can, put your hazard lights on, and then you also want to share your GPS location. So anyone who needs AAA roadside assistance, they can either use our Obel app, AAA.com/mobile, or you can also call or text help to 800-222-1134.
And I'll add, definitely let your loved ones know or somebody know when you reach your destination too, because a lot can happen.
Yeah, between the time you leave and
on a normal basis, but in cold weather like this as well.
Molly Hart with AAA, always a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks for joining us.
Be safe.
Yeah, you too. And we'll be right back.
If you want total health care from a provider you trust,
Hi, Blair.
right in the palm of your hand, if you want soup, sweatpants, and zero in-person contact, if you want wellness wherever, our virtual primary care delivers with great website manner.
No worries.
So choose your doctor from our profiles and enjoy the healthiest online relationship you've ever had. House calls have evolved. Advocate Healthcare.
I've never
All right, now at 4:30, dangerous wind chills moving into our area. You know who's tracking it all, Emily Walls.
Healthy Beginnings, a new program aimed at helping families before, during, and after pregnancy.
Now let's get to that aforementioned Emily Walls, chief meteorologist, staying on top of these conditions for you. It's going to get real cold tonight.
Yes, very cold tonight. In fact, way colder than what we've experienced so far this season. In fact, the coldest that we're going to see in the last couple of years around here. So we do have that extreme cold warning that's going into effect for all of northeastern Illinois beginning at 3 a.m. lasting until noon tomorrow for wind chills as low as 30 to 40 degrees below zero. For those of you that are in northwest Indiana, you have a cold weather advisory that's going into effect at the same time, 3 a.m. lasting actually all the way until Saturday morning for wind chills as low as 15 to 35 degrees below zero. Now for northeastern Illinois, once our warning comes to an end and expires at noon tomorrow, it's going to be replaced with this cold weather advisory. So what you can take away from this is that we have some sort of cold weather headline for dangerously cold conditions in effect from 3 a.m. tonight, lasting until at least 9 a.m. on Saturday. For tonight, actual air temps dropping down to about 10 degrees below zero, and your high temperatures on Friday are only climbing to about zero. Back to you.
What?
Zero.
Zero is the high.
That sounds like wrong to call it a high.
I did add a high in here, I promise. It's not by default. Yeah.
Oh, old. Okay.
All right, Emily. An historic church in the south suburban Fort Heights was badly damaged by fire last night. Flames tore through the True Light Temple of Praise. It's nearly 60 years old.
Leslie Moreno joining us live there as the church is now asking for the community's help to get back on its feet. Leslie?
Hey guys, good evening. Yeah, behind me is all that's left of this church, a heartbreaking sight for this community who just celebrated the church's 58th anniversary. Fire officials say crews battled that fire for several hours yesterday. Take a look there, Sky Fox over the scene last night just before 3. That is True Light Temple of Praise in the 1600 block of Drexel Avenue. You can see the church fully engulfed in flames. Pastor James Morgan says when crews arrived, flames were already pushing through the roof. He says conditions became so dangerous that crews had to pull back and eventually the roof collapsed. He says 2 maintenance workers who were inside escaped on their own and they were treated for smoke inhalation. Pastor Morgan says what's even more devastating is that they were almost done with renovations where they spent tens of thousands of dollars trying to revitalize the building.
I said it before, my heart is in my stomach, you know, to see that my building is not here, or I just can't go turn the key any time of the day to walk in to go clean up. I spend a lot of time in this church, you know, times when I wasn't even at home doing nothing, I was here, you know, so to not be able to do that is really hurtful. It's like it's still unbelievable to me right now. Still unbelievable, and I'm looking at it, you know.
Fire officials say the cause of the fire is still under investigation. The pastor is now asking the community for donations to help them get back on their feet. If you'd like to help, we'll have more details on fox32chicago.com. For now, reporting live here in Fort Heights, Les Moreno, Fox Chicago.
Thank you. On the eve of Maternal Health Awareness Day, Cook County is launching a new program aimed at saving lives.
It's called Healthy Beginnings, and Cook County leaders, or county leaders, I have to say it tackles one of the most preventable health crises we face. Tia Ewing is here with details.
Yeah, wait till you hear these statistics. This really shows why this program is needed. Terrence and Sylvia, in Cook County and across Illinois, most pregnancy-related deaths are considered preventable. Now, a new county-wide program is stepping in earlier and staying longer to change those outcomes. How often do you hear free in healthcare, right? Well, this program is, regardless of income or even insurance status. It offers support to families before, during, and after pregnancy that come with prenatal and postpartum education, help managing chronic conditions like high blood pressure and diabetes, guidance on newborn care, and connections to essentials like housing, nutrition, transportation, mental health services, and doulas. Cook County officials say the need is great, pointing to statistics showing Black women are 2 to 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related complications than white women, largely due to systemic barriers, bias, and lack of early care. State data shows nearly 90% of pregnancy-related deaths in Illinois could be prevented.
This initiative moves beyond reports, recommendations, and statistics and delivers real solutions on the ground. Healthy Beginnings connects families with public health nurses before, during, and after pregnancy, providing consistent, trusted support at the moments that it matters most. This program offers care, guidance, and follow-through during one of the most important and vulnerable times in a family's life.
The program prioritizes communities with the highest maternal and infant health risk. On that list, Cicero, Berwyn, Oaklawn, Arlington Heights, and Calumet City. Families can sign up directly through the Cook County Department of Public Health or through a health care provider. Sylvia?
Thanks for that, Tia. Millions of Americans are still reeling over the cost of health insurance. A live look at the nation's capital, where top executives from America's biggest health insurers face some tough questions from lawmakers. Lawmakers from both parties want the CEOs to address high prices, a sicker nation, and the root causes of soaring health care costs. Democrats say coverage needs to be expanded because uninsured patients pay more at the ER.
Do they see a primary care doctor, or where's their safety net? Do they go the uninsured?
Excuse me, Congressman. They go to the emergency room typically.
They go to the emergency department. The emergency department is one of the higher costs places to get care, or the lower cost to get care?
Higher.
The CEOs argue their operating costs have increased significantly over the past decade. In the meantime, President Trump is making a big push for his own health care plan that he says will bypass those big insurers and send money directly to individuals.
Families in West Garfield Park will now have easier access to healthy food. A new food pantry just opened at the Legler Regional Library this morning. It's a full-service pantry stocked with protein, fresh fruits and veggies, dairy as well. It's part of the city's library-based food access program. They're also teaming up with the Greater Chicago Food Depository to make this happen. Mayor Johnson says he believes the pantry will help build a healthier neighborhood.
Because we know food access is directly connected to better learning, better health, workforce stability, and long-term opportunity, it's why it's that much more critical that these investments actually manifest. And when families have what they need to thrive, communities don't just survive, they grow stronger and more resilient.
It is open Thursdays and Sundays. You can find more information on fox32chicago.com. Well, the city will conduct its annual point-in-time count tonight.
It captures how many people are experiencing homelessness on a single night in Chicago. City employees and homeless shelter providers will be walking the streets to count the homeless population. The numbers directly impact how federal funds are given to combat homelessness. The count comes as the Trump administration's threatened to cut millions in funding to the city. That money helps families get affordable housing and other resources. ComEd is also gearing up for the brutal cold. The company has boosted staffing around the clock, postponed non-essential work, and prepared generations to help with any power outages. ComEd says crews are monitoring the storm system and urges customers to stay clear of downed power lines and report them immediately.
All right, a few more cold weather hacks coming your way when we come back.
The Menards Bag Sale is
Let's welcome in 670 The Floor's Lawrence Holmes. You know, I like that Ryan Poles even brought up the fans yesterday because he said he was getting texts from family members when they would land at O'Hare seeing all the Bears gear around the airport. And he's like, you know, we don't often acknowledge that part of this job when they're in the front office, when they're on the coaching staff. But he said, like, part of their job is to inspire a fan base and inspire a community. And I think it's okay to show that human side when you are on the team. Like, that's part of the totality of what it's like to be a Chicago Bear, especially in a city like Chicago, that, as we saw, it was on display this entire season. When the Bears are good, this city is so different. And so I actually appreciated that he acknowledged the difference that they made in the community.
I've talked to people that say when the Bears are good, Chicago is the best city in the world.
Yeah.
Like, that's how powerful it can be when the Bears are good. The Packers game, I had so many friends from around the country, folks that I hadn't talked to in years, text me because they were up watching the game. And the Bears have leaned into that, as they should. The sleeping giant part of the Bears as an organization is not just the fact that it's a franchise that's close to, you know, $10 billion or whatever. Part of it is that fan base is so rabid. People care. That's what we saw over the last couple of weeks, where even after they lose the playoff game to the Rams, Bears fans are there. They are giving the team a standing ovation. And that connection, you know how I know that it means a lot? Because the next 2 days, Caleb Williams was out here in these streets, and he was feeling that love at the Blackhawks game, and he was feeling that love at the Bulls game. And the love of Bears fans is undeniable. And for the Bears organizationally to get to that place is a great first step for Ben Johnson.
Saturday, it's a Fox.
Got to get that quick cold weather check because, you know, a lot of people concerned about this weekend. What's it going to mean? It's going to be cold. So some advice from people that could help all of us, right?
Yeah, because, you know, people pass around tips for you, but some of them are just plain wrong and outdated. So let's start here. More layers does not automatically mean more warmth because if those layers trap sweat, that moisture sits on your skin, pulls heat away faster. Studies show once you're cold and damp, hypothermia risk goes up pretty fast. And this is where people get tripped up. Cotton is a problem in cold like this because it holds moisture, stays wet, and it keeps the cold pressed right against your skin. So even with a big coat, if the layers under it are wrong, y'all, you're losing heat, which is why a heavy coat by itself is not enough. Without insulation underneath, wind can strip heat right off you. So you need a layering system that keeps heat in and moisture out. Okay, then there's the myth about alcohol. People grab a drink thinking it'll warm them up. I'll let this ER doctor answer that one.
It's so not true. In fact, I tell patients all the time, alcohol will keep you warmer like it's going to make you more attractive. And that's when it hits them. They're like, oh, I guess it doesn't work then. I was like, no, it doesn't. It just provides you the sensation that you're warmer, but no.
Yeah, you feel warm for a moment, but alcohol pushes blood to your skin and your core temperature can drop. I learned a lot today, y'all.
Yes,
so today and tomorrow, take this cold seriously, even for quick trips. Dress like something could go sideways and keep you out longer than you planned.
Most people, maybe it's a good bet if you can, just to stay inside, right?
Yeah, just stay in, work from home.
How bad is it going to be?
Pretty bad. Yep, pretty bad. We're looking at 30 to 40 degree below zero wind chills, which, you know, if that's something that maybe you're not used to feeling, a lot of us are not used to feeling something that's that extreme, that's the type of cold that just hurts, right? It hurts to be outside. So let's talk frostbite concerns because, you know, a lot of us, especially when you live in a city, an urban area, a lot of folks walk to the store, walk to work, walk to school. Now, granted, we have a lot of school closings that have been coming in for tomorrow because of the cold, but with frostbite and temperatures this cold, it can actually occur on exposed skin in as little as about 10 minutes. So make sure you're taking all of the precautions to cover yourself literally from head to toe. We'll have wind chill temperatures as low as 30 to 40 degrees below zero in the highlighted area here that you see in this dark blue. That is an extreme cold warning for all of northeastern Illinois, beginning at 3 a.m., lasting until noon tomorrow. And then at noon tomorrow, that's going to be replaced with a cold weather advisory. Now, for those of you in Northwest Indiana, your cold weather advisory is going to begin at 3 a.m., similar to the extreme cold warning that I was just mentioning for Northeast Illinois. That begins at 3 a.m., going to last until 9 a.m. on Saturday for wind chills as cold as 15 to 35 degrees below zero. So whether you're in the advisory tonight through midday tomorrow or the warning, impacts are going to be about the same. Frostbite can occur in as little as about 10 to 15 minutes. So futurecast wind chill temperatures here. Let's roll us throughout the overnight and take a glimpse into tomorrow morning. By 7 a.m. tomorrow, we're going to have wind chill temperatures as cold as 30 to 40 degrees below zero. And then they stay in that range for a lot of us all the way through about midday. Then by noon, we're starting to see at least some slight improvements. But even during the afternoon hours, I still think wind chills by this point, going into the afternoon, the early evening, are still going to be as cold as about minus 25 to 30 below. So make sure you're prepared for that cold. This is going to be a long stretch that we have to get through. We're going to have sub-zero wind chills through at least the day on Saturday, if not potentially into Sunday as well. Satellite and radar, things have been rather quiet. There's been just a couple snowflakes right along the Wisconsin state line. Futurecast taking us throughout the rest of this evening and tonight. We're going to have mostly clear skies, and that's going to allow those temperatures to drop very quickly. Actual air temperatures tonight are expected to drop down to about 10 degrees below zero. Now, for those of you in Northwest Indiana, some lake effect could develop, so lake effect snow showers possible, mainly in Porter and LaPorte counties through the day tomorrow. And then looking ahead to Saturday, there's a system that's passing well to our south that's going to cause a lot of issues through the central U.S. all the way over toward the East Coast and down south as well. We're going to be on the far northern extent of this, which could be resulting in some accumulating snowfall beginning as early as Saturday and then lasting into Sunday as well. So that could be a long duration event. Snow totals still up in the air. We're still several days out from that, but make sure you're paying attention to the forecast as we go into this upcoming weekend, as we're able to kind of fine tune those numbers. But snow is likely at this point Saturday into Sunday. Temperatures on Sunday, we're going to be right around 17 degrees, 13 on Monday. We're back up to around 20 degrees on Tuesday. So some improvements before temperatures drop back down into the teens again by Wednesday and Thursday. We'll be right back.
Your go-to source for live severe.
Welcome back. The 2026 Oscar nominations are out.
And one film received the most nominations in history.
So Jake is breaking it all down for us.
That's right, some pretty massive Oscar history earlier today. So rather than go through a list of every single category, I want to talk about some of the big headlines that came out of this morning's nominations, the records, the snubs, the history that was made. And history does not get bigger than this. With 16 nominations, Ryan Coogler's vampire thriller Sinners has become the most nominated movie in Oscar history. 16 nominations for Sinners, an all-time record. It breaks the previous record of 14 held by movies like All About Eve, Titanic, and La La Land, and that includes nominations for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor for Michael B. Jordan, a pair of Supporting Actor nominations, and a ton of below-the-line technical nominations. Now, many people right now, including myself, do expect one battle after another to take home Best Picture, but it looks like Sinners could be making a surge. It would be the first horror film to win Best Picture since The Silence of the Lambs. Now, one of the best surprises of the morning actually comes courtesy of Sinners. That man in the middle right there, legendary actor Delroy Lindo, finally got his well-deserved first acting nomination for his performance in Sinners. Delroy nominated for Best Supporting Actor, and while he has been a well-respected and beloved actor for decades now, it took him a long time to finally get some Oscar love, and he did today. Here's a pretty shocking headline I didn't expect. The sequel, Wicked for Good, completely shut out of all Oscar nominations. After the first film landed 10, including Best Picture, the sequel, which was admittedly less liked than the first movie, ended up getting 0. Now, people didn't expect it to get 10 nominations again, but at least thought it would have landed makeup, costume, production design, maybe even supporting actress for Ariana Grande. But apparently the Academy thought the film was wicked, not so good. Now, here's a name I didn't expect to hear listed off this morning. That guy right there, Brad Pitt. Now, the racing thriller F1 was nominated for Best Picture, and since Pitt is a producer on the film, that means he's nominated. But that's actually not the first time it's happened for him. Brad Pitt actually won his first Oscar, not as an actor, but as a producer, when 12 Years a Slave won Best Picture. One person making his own history this morning, actor Timothée Chalamet. With his movie Marty Supreme landing Best Picture nominations, Chalamet joins an elite group of actors who have starred in 8 different Best Picture nominees. Now, that list of actors includes people like Gregory Peck, Harrison Ford, Daniel Day-Lewis, Meryl Streep, Elizabeth Taylor. Also, since Chalamet was also nominated for Best Actor, he becomes the youngest actor to land 3 Best Actor nominations since Marlon Brando. That's pretty good company. Now, those are the big headlines out of this year's Oscar nominations. Let me know how you feel about them. Follow me on Instagram @JakesTakes. Back over to you.
All right, Jake, thank you. And